Daniel Mitchell, though, Canada is going to go ahead and ban assault rifles. And to Brian's earlier point, here in the US, it seems like we're willing to deal with anything but the guns. Are we making a mistake by not following Canada's lead here?
I find it ironic and frankly a little bit despicable that a man, Justin Trudeau, who's protected by people with guns, wants to make it harder for law-abiding Canadians to protect themselves with guns. That's typical political. I don't even have words that I can use that would be proper to describe my feelings for someone like that who's so hypocritical. When I think of what Trudeau's trying to do, I think of what happened in Australia where they had the so-called gun buyback. Well, criminologists say that that was only 20% effective. And not only that, there are more guns in Australia today than before the buyback. So I assume in Canada, we'll see similar very high levels of non-compliance. We'll see a lot of civil disobedience because people, frankly, don't trust governments, and governments around the world for centuries have given us very good reasons not to trust them. Now, specifically, what might happen in the United States in terms of doing something similar, the most important thing to understand is that an assault weapon, quote unquote, is no different than any other type of gun. You could have more powerful rounds, less powerful rounds, but they all fire one bullet per one pull of the trigger. So these politicians who are running around saying, we have to ban guns that look military or something like that. Well, would that stop one of these lunatics from simply getting one of the guns that doesn't look military? I wish I had an answer for what happened. I wish there was some magic way because, frankly, I don't think mental health counseling and red flag laws and things like that are going to stop people who, for the most part, stay under the radar. And it's only after they do crazy things that everyone comes forward and says, oh, well, he tortured kittens or something like that. Well, how do you know that ahead of time? We just don't know. So I don't think, well, hopefully we won't get gun control, but I think Justin Trudeau is showing us one thing. It's very difficult to have a compromise with people that at the end of the day, they really do want to ban private possession of guns. I think that makes it very difficult for Republicans to compromise because people like Chris Murphy are radicals on this issue. They don't believe in the Second Amendment. They don't believe in self-defense. They want us all to just rely on cops. And of course, what did we talk about earlier in the program? You can't trust and rely on the government to protect you when push comes to shove. If I can jump in on some of the evidence here, in both the United States and Australia, because of demographic factors, fewer young men between 18 and 30, we're the idiots in our younger years who tend to cause problems. But because of a decline in the relative population of young men in both Australia and the US, crime rates, murder rates, violent crime rates have all been dropping. Now, in the United States, that drop in crime has been at the same time that we've had an explosion in gun ownership. Well, the fact that it happened in Australia when there was some level of decline in some of these weapons, writers for even left-leaning outlets like the New York Times and Washington Post, when they've written about what happened in Australia, they basically admit that there's no evidence, no statistical proof that the gun buyback actually had any effect on crime rates.